Yes, guys, I'll get you back to that video right now, but I just wanted to check if you haven't joined the Cardiff City World squad on Squad Bets yet. Now is the perfect time to do it. The World Cup is here, and there are brand new World Cup games live right now, including the very popular Fixture Predictor Challenge. Plus, the all new championship season is just around the corner, and we'll very soon be able to have a whole range of EFL championship games available too. Remember, Squad Bets is not a bookies. There's no house taking a cut. Instead, all of the entry money goes into the cash pot, and the winners take home the prizes. It's football knowledge, community competition, and a bit of fun rolled into one. Download the app today, join our squad using the code Cardiff City 1, and let's see who really knows their football. Big thanks to Squad Bets for supporting Cardiff City World and Ace Nation Media, and I'll see you in the games. Nice one. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Day 5 gave us 4 draws, 4 upsets, a 40-year-old keeper who broke the internet, and a whole lot of underdogs refusing to be beaten. But day 6 saw the big boys arrive. So day 6 saw the superstars arrive. Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland. 3 generations, 3 global icons, and 3 absolute statements. All of them happened to be on the same day, but they all turned up, and they all turned up in style. Lionel Messi equalled the greatest goal-scoring record in World Cup history. Kylian Mbappe became France's all-time leading goalscorer, and Haaland announced himself to the biggest stage in football with a debut double. If you'd written this script before the tournament, you couldn't have written it any better. So here is 5 things we learned from day 6 of the 2026 World Cup. And honestly, what a day. What a day. Right then. For the first 5 days of this World Cup, we've talked about surprises, underdogs, defensive masterclasses, shock results, goalkeepers standing on their heads, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Egypt, the smaller nations proving that they belong. But every World Cup eventually reaches a moment where the biggest players remind everybody exactly why they are the biggest players. Day 6 was that moment, because after a week of underdogs grabbing the headlines, football's royalty took stage, and once they did, they absolutely stole the show. So let's start with the greatest player of all time. Number 1, Lionel Messi leveled the record for 16 World Cup goals. And at this point, what do you even say about this guy? Honestly now, what do you even say about Messi that hasn't already been said? Because every time you think the story's ending, he just writes another chapter. He just goes and does something even more incredible. He produces something new. And on Tuesday night in Kansas City, he produced history again. Going into the game, Messi sat on 13 World Cup goals, 3 behind Miroslav Klose's all-time record of 16, 3 goals away. And against Algeria, at the age of 38, even his biggest fan might have been thinking this is a step too far for him, but this isn't something which you casually expect in is a World Cup hat-trick. But in fact, he was just remarkable again. He's never scored a hat-trick at a World Cup before, so he decided now was the time to go do it. The first goal was vintage Messi. 17 minutes played. De Paul finds him between the lines. One touch, look up, whip, bottom corner. And that kind of finish we've seen 100 times, right? And somehow you just never get bored of it. He's so enjoyable to watch. That's number 14. The second was a classic striker's finish. McAllister's effort spills loose, chaos in the box. Messi reacts quickest. Little scoop finish. Classic Messi. 15. Now everybody inside Kansas City Stadium is waiting. They're waiting for him to equal that record. Everybody. Even the Algeria fans, even the neutrals. History is suddenly very real. And then came number 16. And it might have been the best of the lot. Ball arrives outside the box. Messi takes one look, opens his body, and it is a beautiful, sumptuous, curling left foot effort into the corner. Goal, hat-trick, record equaled, pandemonium, absolute scenes. And here's where the story gets even crazier. This happened on his 200th appearance for Argentina. It happened exactly 20 years after his World Cup debut in 2006. And in the process, he surpassed Pele's World Cup goal contribution. He's got 24 now, the most ever. Just let that sink in. 20 years after making his World Cup debut, he is still breaking records, still deciding games, still looking the smartest footballer on the pitch. Scaloni afterwards said he was lost for words, but honestly, I think most people are at this point because we've reached a point where statistics are struggling to keep up with him. The scary thing is, Argentina looked like they didn't even get out of second gear. But look, in terms of Messi, my message is clear, especially to the younger generation. Just enjoy watching him because you are literally watching the greatest of all time play in real time. And you don't always get that opportunity. When I was growing up, I sort of saw a bit of Maradona, saw Pele on tape, but never really witnessed it in real time. And this era of watching Ronaldo and Messi grow and do things that have never been done before by anybody is just a real pleasure to be a football fan at that point. Number two, Mbappe is chasing history himself. France's new record top scorer. And whilst Messi was making history in Kansas City, Kylian Mbappe was busy hunting history of his own. And that sounds ridiculous, right? Because Mbappe is doing things at 27 that most players have never achieved in their career. And now what's interesting about France is they weren't actually very good for about an hour. But I think, to be fair, you give Senegal a bit of credit. I thought they were the better side for a large portion of the game. They were more dangerous, more aggressive, more threatening. Sadio Mane looked really lively. Ismail Assar caused problems, missed a couple of chances. Nicholas Jackson hit the post. Didier Deschamps looked frustrated. France couldn't get going. Mbappe was isolated. The front three barely were touching the ball, or certainly in dangerous areas for long periods. They looked strangely flat. And then Deschamps made a very interesting tactical tweak. He moved Michael Olise into the middle. Everything changed from that point. Suddenly France had that connector, and suddenly the midfield linked to the attack. Suddenly Mbappe had space, and when Mbappe finds space, good luck to his opposition. Olise slides a ball through to him, and Mbappe explodes past him. The pace is ridiculous. Across the defence, finish 1-0, simple, clinical, just world class. And then came one of the stories of the tournament. One of my favourite players, actually. I really, really like him. And that's Bradley Barcola, making his World Cup debut. Comes off the bench. Now, this guy's got lightning pace. And he scored 131 seconds later. Imagine that, right? You spent your entire life dreaming of playing for your nation in a World Cup. And after 2 minutes, you're already celebrating a goal. It was a brilliant moment, but the night still belonged to Mbappe because deep into stoppage time, he unleashed an absolute rocket from distance to make it 3-1. Game over, and it came with another record. He became France's all-time leading scorer. 58 goals, more than Giroud, more than Henry, more than Griezmann, more than Platini, more than anybody else. And he's only 27. That's the scary bit. Because whilst Messi is operating in football immortality territory, Mbappe is slowly climbing and trying to get there himself, and suddenly that all-time World Cup record for him feels very reachable indeed. Number three, Haaland has arrived with a World Cup debut double. Easy for me to say. Let's talk about Erling Haaland because he is the best number 9 in the world without a doubt, but hasn't been a regular at the World Cup because Norway don't always qualify. And whilst Messi and Mbappe grabbed most of the headlines yesterday, of course, this might actually have been the most important performance of the day. Why? Because it's his first ever World Cup match. Ever. Think about that. One of the biggest stars in football, multiple Premier League titles, Champions League winner, goal-scoring machine. One of the only people to do numbers like Messi and Ronaldo in terms of scoring. And until now, he'd never played in a World Cup. Norway simply just couldn't get there. Now they have, and it looks less than half an hour for him to announce himself on the scene. His first goal was a classic centre-forward play, get in the right position, arrive right moment, tap it in, simple. Second, peak Haaland. The second was peak Haaland. Goalkeeper tries to play out. Haaland forces a mistake and doesn't, forces that mistake with a press. 2 goals. 20 touches all game, 20. Doesn't need touches, just scores goals. Only Erling Haaland can score twice whilst barely touching the ball, but that's the quality of the guy. And that's why he's so dangerous, because unlike other elite forwards, he doesn't need to dominate possession. He doesn't need to have 15 chances, and he doesn't need 30, 40 touches. He just needs a moment, and he will score. Norway eventually win the game 4-1. Odegaard grew into the game. Ostergaard scored from a corner. The set-piece trend continues, but the headline's obvious here. Haaland has arrived, and suddenly that golden boot race looks absolutely incredible. Messi on 3, Mbappe and Haaland on 2, Havertz on 2, Balogun, Irari, and there's still teams to play. You've got stars everywhere, and the frightening thing is, Haaland's probably the freshest of the lot. Number 4, Austria's warning shot. The dark horse that nobody noticed. So this is an interesting one. Lost amongst all the superstar headlines was a result that could become important later on in the tournament. And that was Austria 3, Jordan 1. Now on paper it doesn't look particularly exciting, but you dig deeper and this is exactly the type of result that dark horses do produce. It was professional, very efficient, it was controlled, no drama, just business. Jordan deserve enormous credit. Making their first ever World Cup appearance, they competed well, they showed a little bit of quality here and there. Ali Al-Wan's equaliser was a brilliant moment, but Austria always felt like they were in control. Romano Schmid's opener was outstanding. David Alaba's introduction added that calm and composure. Arnautovic eventually seals the game, and Ralf Rangnick's side suddenly find themselves level on points with Argentina. Now, nobody's putting Austria as favourites, don't get me wrong, nor should they, but tournament football isn't always about the best individual players, it's about the best organised team. Austria look organised, they look disciplined, and they look athletic. Tactically, they're excellent under Ralf Rangnick, so it's going to be interesting. That upcoming meeting with our Argentina does look quite interesting and fascinating to see, because whilst everyone will be watching Messi, rightly so, Austria might quietly fancy their chances of getting a bit of a shock. So number 5, let's go with it. The superstars have arrived. Messi, Mbappe, Haaland. And here's the bigger picture. The real story of day 6. The superstars have arrived. Day 5 belonged, of course, to the underdogs, the Cape Verde, the Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran. Day 6 belonged to football's royalty. Messi, Mbappe, Haaland. 3 generations, 3 different styles, 3 very different journeys, one unforgettable day. Messi is a legend, no doubt. The man is in the final chapter of his career, still producing magic, still breaking records, still making impossible look routine. Mbappe's the king of the present, the face of modern football, the player carrying an entire nation's hopes, breaking records almost on the weekly. And then there's Haaland. He's the future. People forget how young he still is. He's the future. He's the goal-scoring machine, the force of nature, the old school number 9 playing in the modern game, the player who eventually might chase down every record both the others set. The beautiful thing is they're all here together and the same tournament, same time, competing against each other and writing football history in front of our eyes. And that's what makes World Cup special. Not just the teams, not just the nations, the fans, the eras colliding. Day 6 gave us exactly that. And I'm so excited for day 7. Messi equals the greatest goal-scoring record in the World Cup history. Mbappe gives you the France's all-time leading scorer record. Haaland announces himself with that debut double, and Austria quietly strengthened their dark horse credentials. The superstar generation officially has taken centre stage 6 days in. And somehow this tournament keeps getting better. It's building nicely. Day 7 brings us no shortage of action. England enter the fray. Portugal with Ronaldo enter the fray. Colombia enter the fray. There is plenty more drama coming. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. And let me know in a comment, what was the best moment of day 6? Was it Messi's hat-trick? Was it Mbappe's record? Was it Haaland's double? What performance impressed you the most? Are you looking at Austria thinking they could make an upset? I'll be back tomorrow with 5 things we've learned about day 7, and there is going to be lots and lots to discuss as we go through the tournament. We're going to have some live shows as well, so please do get subscribed, do spread the word. It's a new channel off the back of some of my other channels. It's going to take time to build it up, I understand that, but I really hope that you guys can come on that journey with me. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Nice one. This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the Spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.